All right. Let's get into it. This is my, I guess you could say, reaction to Invincible episode 7. Now, going into it, saw the new episode and been catching up with the whole season so far, and it's been great. Really, really interesting. And this isn't a review of the episode by any means. If you haven't been watching Invincible already this season, absolutely, definitely recommend it. But this is for those who have seen. So, again, if you haven't seen episode 7, run off for a second. I'm going to talk spoilers. It's going to be pretty light, but I did want to get into my initial thoughts of the episode because, man, this is quite the episode. Truly, so much happened in one episode. It's insane. It's really cool to see them bring out the Invincible series, take it from the comic and bring it onto the screen in the way that they have. And it's really interesting to see how they are able to do so much with honestly so little from what it seems like. I don't know what the budget is for the show in terms of what they're putting in per episode, but you could really tell that they had limited resources and had to do a lot with the little that they had. I mean, these season's only 8 episodes, and honestly, it probably should have been 12. With this specific episode lasting for maybe 2 to 3 episodes, at least 3 episodes, and then maybe a fall off episode where people are recovering from the war, and then boom, conquest at the end of that episode. That's, I guess, my thoughts on how it should have gone. But again, I'm not the one cutting the checks at Amazon, so who knows what was on their mind with this. And hopefully the views from the show and whatever it is they're tracking for the show is to a point where they feel that it deserves a bigger budget and more to work with. Because, man, what this team is doing with what they have is just absolutely incredible. Now, I'll get into my initial thoughts here from the Invincible War and what I thought about it. Personally, I was looking forward to this the entire season. Like, the entire season, from when the title cards were shifting and you're kind of noticing, oh wait, this is a different color but similar. And it was kind of obvious what they were going for those who are aware of what was coming. So this entire time I was looking forward to it. And again, spoilers for those who watch the episode. All the stuff they were doing throughout the entire season with Rex and things leading up to Rex and what was going to happen, I was looking forward to this episode as well. And in a way, I think because I was expecting so much from the episode, it might have affected the overall effect of the episode. Like, to someone who had no idea this was coming, this is like completely out of nowhere, in the sense that from all the other episodes, the way in which the stakes are just raised significantly in this episode is insane. I mean, you go from just, I think, Washington, wherever it is that Mark lives, and maybe Chicago being in danger, to the entire planet being in danger, all in one episode, and all the different things that happen, all the different marks. Oh man, I loved seeing all the different marks and what they were doing. And like, man, the Mark's voice actor, Mr. Young, I'm forgetting his first name right now, but this guy just, he must have had a blast in the booth recording this, because when looking at it, I noticed just the attention to detail he placed with each and every single one of the marks, and how he tried to differentiate each of them. And they did actually sound and feel different. At first, you're kind of like, oh yeah, that sounds like Stephen Young. That sounds like Stephen Young. Oh yeah, that sounds like Mark a little bit. But then once you start to see the range he puts with each of the different characters, and some of the marks didn't even sound like Mark really at all, in a way. He was able to sort of adjust the voices just enough to not sound like Mark, but still sound like Mark. So overall, it was just really cool to see. I really enjoyed the Mark that was fighting the Guardians, and also Mohawk Mark was probably one of the most fun ones as well. And overall, it was just a really cool episode to see all those different marks doing their thing again, which was exciting for me. especially considering I really don't like multiverse anything. Like, I think multiverses just ruin almost every story. But even with that said, uh, hey, it's a cool moment when you have all these different marks coming in and just raining, hellfire on the planet, essentially, in terms of just the destruction and everything that's in there. And it's split up into multiple days, which is cool as well. And you get to kind of see each and every single thing happen throughout each of the days and throughout the episode. And then there's a good period in the middle of the episode or towards the end of the episode where the war is over and people are sort of licking their wounds, and yeah, things are a bit slowing down, the falling action. And then you get the conquest moment at the end, which is just oof. Like, I saw that and I'm like, man, this show is starting to drift into Dragon Ball territory in terms of just the type of action they're about to incorporate, as well as are incorporating. Like, especially with these, anytime Vitramites are on screen and the combat with them on screen is noticeably different than every other superhero. And I love that. I love that when you had the earlier episode, I think it's called You Are My Hero or something like that, where in that episode you have You Were My Hero, I think it was. In that episode you have Mark's dad, Nolan, fighting against these two executioners alongside Battle Beast and Alan the Alien. And the combat and the way they moved and ducked and dodged compared to, again, all the superhero action you were seeing on Earth, completely different. Even in the previous season when they were fighting on Thraxa and you had those combat scenes as well. Again, the way they do the combat when any Vitramites are there, when it's Vitramite on Vitramite action, essentially, right? So when you have characters that can fight to that extent, to me, it's completely awesome. And seeing it on screen is amazing. And for me, what really got to me is when I was watching this and I was looking at all the evil marks, there was a moment where Immortal, I think, was fighting one of them, and he was just punching him in the face. And it was like a moment where I was like, yeah, get him, Immortal, get him, like, it just, they were so likably unlikable in the episode, all different marks, that you are so rooting for, I guess, this version of Earth as they're going up against all these different all these different marks. So I definitely enjoyed this episode a lot, because you could tell that it just feels like a completely different show almost from the other episodes because of how much was put into executing this episode. It was a lot. And even the stuff with Rex and executing his arc, all that stuff was just really, really good. I actually did an episode before about, not necessarily about Rex, but talking about Rex. You can check that in the pinned comments. But essentially, the way they execute Rex arc throughout this entire season, in fact, the last two seasons, it started last season and then it culminates into this season. I think every part of it was excellent, like phenomenal. They did a really, really good job with Rex. I do want to say, though, that because there was so much packed into this one episode, because of everything they had to do all at once, I do believe that they missed the mark on his death scene. If you notice throughout the scene, multiple scenes actually, you cut into the battle almost after too many things have happened. So there's a part where Donald, for example, he heads off and is fighting in the war, and the next time you see Donald, half his body's cut off and you have no clue what happened. Or another situation happens again here where Rex goes off to fight these marks, and then the next time you see him, it's at the end of a battle where it's him and the Guardians fighting off against one of the marks. And at least for me, this is where I really feel like stretching things out into day 1, day 2, day 3 would have been so special for this specific event. it needed to be longer. I think you could have had just one episode on its own, maybe day 2, an episode for that, where it was just, Guardians and Rex, and you can have a long drawn out battle against one of those marks, leading to Rex's sacrifice at maybe towards the end of the episode or the middle of the episode. I think that really and truly it was required to some extent in some way to stretch out those scenes a little bit more. I think it really happened too quickly in terms of the state of the war and how quickly it started and ended. Like, the entire thing is maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes max in terms of the beginning of the war and the end of the war. I didn't read the comics, so I don't know how many issues it took to get through the Invincible War, but something tells me it would have been more than one issue, right? So for me, at least, yeah, they could have extended it a bit longer, and specifically because there's certain things like Rex's arc that they've been building up for 2+ seasons now, that giving it just that small scene isn't enough, I feel, to really capitalize on the moment. It's lost in a sea of other things that are happening all at the same time. So that's kind of my only gripe with this episode, is that they were forced to put it all into one episode. But besides that, they executed really well on being able to put everything in the one episode. And I also really enjoy that throughout the series, Mark has had an aspect of his arc surrounding him and killing and whether or not he should kill people. And in this episode, you kind of see the consequences of him not killing an enemy, which is kind of weird because he thought he had killed that enemy at that point in time. But again, he wasn't trying to. And I think that if he was trying to kill Angstrom, he probably would have killed him, because he even said when he was dead at the time that he thought he'd be able to handle it, right? So he didn't purposely kill him. So in a way, this whole war could have been avoided had he killed Angstrom at that point in time. And what's super interesting is towards the end, he has another opportunity to kill Angstrom, and he chooses not to. And in him doing that, I mean, we'll see what happens next when it comes to the consequences of that. But in him doing that, it shows you where Mark still is at this point in his arc when it comes to killing or not killing, in that he still has a hard rule against the killing, or at least he's leaning away from it, because he was about to kill Angstrom in the moment. And I think he may have decided to do so, but it was the hesitation that allowed him to escape. So that's very important, especially leading into the next episode and where they're going to move Mark's arc and just what's going to happen overall. So I'm interested and excited to see where things go. This, again, is just my reaction to the episode. There's a lot more in terms of thoughts that I have on this episode and on the whole season, actually. I'm doing a review of every episode, scene by scene. Right now, I am on episode 1 still, so bear with me, guys, as I'm getting through each and every single one of these episodes. There's a lot, but I'm looking to get through the entire season all the way up until episode 8 with a scene-by-scene review. The reason why it does take as long as it does is with each of these episodes, I watch them about 3 times and take some notes, think about it a little bit, and really get into the review, because it's just how I like to digest my media. So bear with me if you guys are patient. The episodes and those reviews will come out for the rest of the season, and eventually they will be available here for those of you who are watching this way in the future, and we're already past this season. So bear with me, guys. Those episodes are coming. For now, I just wanted to give my reaction of season 3, episode 7, and the Invincible War, because, I mean, it's what we've been waiting for. And in terms of my thoughts on the next episode, I'm really excited to see a lot of different things that are going to happen. I don't want to spoil anything that'll happen because of, again, any comic knowledge that I might have. Now, in particular here, from what I can tell, they're sticking very closely to the comics, so I'm excited to see certain moments on screen. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next episode. I said earlier on, before the season dropped, that this was going to be the best season of Invincible. I'm right up there in saying that it is. We'll see how they close things out with the next episode, because again, season 1, episodes 7 and 8 were incredible, insane. So there's a lot left to live up to here. I would say the overall season, let's say from episodes 2 to 6, are much stronger in this season than they are in season 1 and season 2. So the premiere and the finale is kind of where we're looking at things in terms of, yeah, what happens here. But I still do think this season's going to be way better. As I said in my other video, way better than season 1. However, in the video, one of the reasons I cited for why this season would be better is because we would be getting a lot more Omni-Man. And I was wrong. We got way less Omni-Man. But I think that's a good thing in a way, because what that does is it really allows us to sit with Mark and fully allow Mark to take over the show as the lead of the show, because I think that he was a bit overshadowed, at least in season 1, with everything happening with Omni-Man. I mean, every time you saw him on screen, he took over the whole show, right? So I think with that aspect of things, it was good for us to have less Omni-Man and allow Mark to shine. And you really got to see the execution that the writers have this season in being able to thoroughly flesh out character arcs. I'm excited to go through the different arcs and the different things that they were able to flesh out and how effectively they were able to do it this season. Again, with my reviews that are on the way and my overall thoughts on the season. So I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna stop ranting. Again, I could talk about this show for hours, but I'll leave it at this. Invincible season 3, episode 7, easily the best episode of the season. Might be one of the best episodes of the series, and highly recommend watching it. But man, I wish they could have stretched this out into a good 3-part episode series. Like, come on. Whoever is over there at Amazon, please give these guys another 3-4 episodes extra. Jump into 12 episodes. Don't go 16, 18. That's crazy. 12 episodes is what we need for a really nice Invincible season. But with that said, I'm out. It's your man Lex. There's no such thing as entertainment. Peace.